3 months after the war began. Boris Johnson was very actively persuading them not to sign the peace agreement, and only afterwards did he receive £1 million for his foundation from a well-known businessman from an arms company that supplies weapons to Ukraine. For example, what did they actually read about Gaddafi's death? Nothing. But at the same time, we all know that Gaddafi, he provided at least $5 million, euros or pounds, to the French President Sarkozy for his election campaign. And then, after Sarkozy was elected, he ostentatiously received him in Paris 3 months after the presidential elections. So what did they actually read? About Commissioner Reinders, who used to come to Slovakia and spread wisdom about the rule of law and human rights. And today we find out that he is suspected of money laundering. What, apart from the obligatory reports, did they learn about our national president, Mr. Kiska, who was proven to have cheated and committed tax crimes during the presidential campaign and clearly won the parliamentary elections through fraud, and today we have a president who has been lawfully convicted. So don't be surprised that you won't read much about this case either, which concerns the British Prime Minister, the former British Prime Minister. You know that I have repeatedly announced that 3 months after the start of the war in Ukraine, there was a peace agreement on the table, and Ukraine was ready to sign this peace agreement. However, people like Mr. Johnson started coming, who at that time was already a member of the British Parliament, not the Prime Minister. And these people were very actively persuading not only Western leaders, but above all, they were persuading the Ukrainian government not to sign the peace agreement under any circumstances to continue the war, because the strategy was that through this war, there would be a chance to bring the Russian Federation to its knees. But anyone who knows the Russians knows that when they are on their knees, it's only because they're tying their shoelaces. So this strategy failed 3 months after the war began. Boris Johnson was very actively persuading them not to sign the peace agreement, and only afterwards did he receive £1 million for his foundation from a well-known businessman from an arms company that supplies weapons to Ukraine, and this man then accompanied him on a joint trip to Kyiv and other cities. Then there are records and photographs. Simply put, there is enough evidence to prove it. So today we can say with 100% certainty that Boris Johnson fought to keep the war going. Then he took £1 million from the arms dealer. And then he took that arms dealer to Ukraine for various meetings with the highest-ranking Ukrainian officials. Yes, Boris Johnson did not want to end the war because he knew he had a friend who would give him money, and in return, he would help him with weapons in Ukraine. So now imagine, and I'm following up on your question, Madam Deputy, that I would simply behave the same way. That from, say, April or May of the year when the war started, I would claim that there is no way to end the war in Ukraine, that it's impossible. And then I would take €1 million from some arms company in Slovakia. And then I would take that person to Ukraine, to President Zelensky, to the Minister of Defense, and to other people, and there I would convince them that this is an excellent person who can supply you with weapons. That's such a mess. But of course, you're not supposed to talk about it, because it's a topic that doesn't fit into the narrative of the mainstream media. The mainstream media, after all, say something completely different about the war in Ukraine.